The trench was a screaming hell of plasma and shrapnel. Golden-furred mercenaries dove for cover as the sky burned orange. In the middle of it, a small human woman knelt over a thrashing soldier. Her hands never paused.
Get it out. Pull the shell fragment. Ah.
Hold still. You are not dying today.
She's not even flinching. What kind of medic doesn't react?
The ground shook again, throwing clods of dirt. Sarah just shifted her weight and kept suturing. Aliens hired a human field medic, then discovered what stitches a human soldier together. But this wasn't where it started. It started weeks earlier, with a desperate mercenary company and a ghost of a woman. The Cartesi pride was broke, bleeding, and willing to take a gamble on a disgraced Terran exile. They had no idea what they were signing.
You are the only applicant. Why us? Your file is concerning?
I need work. You need cheap. Seems simple. My past is irrelevant.
The matriarch's claw tapped the desk. A holographic contract bloomed between them, its fine print glowing in the dim light.
Standard mercenary medical contract, but with one difference, you are paid half. That's all we can offer.
I've read it. I accept.
Sarah pressed her thumb to the plasma sheet. It sealed with a soft chime, binding her to the pride.
They'll never know. They can't.
Later, in her quarters, the matriarch stared at the Terran's file. Her amber eyes narrowed. The single-page summary was a void. Court-martial, dishonorable discharge, no details.
Court-martialed for refusing an order? That's not the whole truth. Medics don't get their records sealed.
The pride was bleeding credits and soldiers. She couldn't afford to dig deeper, so Sarah was theirs. The dropship hit the landing zone hot. Rounds sparked off the hull before the ramp was even down. The pride charged into a killing field. Plasma bolts and mortar shells turned the dusty plane into a charnel house. Amid the chaos, Sarah commandeered a collapsed prefab and started sorting the wounded with brutal efficiency.
How are you doing that? That wound should be fatal.
Tourniquet. Pressure. Adrenaline. Basic field medicine.
A soldier's abdomen was torn open, his vitals flatlining. Others had already marked him dead. Sarah inserted a micro-drain, sealed the wound with synth film, and pumped a stabilizing cocktail. His vitals climbed. Vel stared, her whiskers trembling. Roxanne, his own arm slashed, growled low.
She's no ordinary medic.
That night, the matriarch received the casualty report. 3 dead. It should have been 15. She stared at the data, tail flicking. The numbers didn't lie. Months passed. The Pride's casualty rate dropped so sharply that rival companies started spreading rumors. Sarah was the reason. After a brutal skirmish, she knelt beside an enemy heavy gunner, cutting away his scorched armor to staunch a sucking chest wound.
You are saving the enemy. That one fried 3 of ours.
He's a patient now. Same biology, same bleeding.
At the victory fires that night, the Pride roared and drank. Sarah sat on a crate at the edge, cleaning her instruments in the glow.
You never celebrate with us. Don't you feel like one of the Pride now?
I celebrate by keeping you alive. Go enjoy the fire.
In her quarters, the matriarch combed through 6 months of casualty figures. The pattern was impossible. Sarah hadn't lost a single patient the others thought salvageable.
She's not a medic. She's a statistical anomaly. I need to know what Terran fleet buried.
The next morning, she used her last political favor to open a back channel into Terran military records. The search began. A year in, Roxanne cornered her in a narrow corridor, his mane bristling. No one else was around.
I've watched you for a year. No real medic is that calm under fire. Who are you, really?
I am a medic. That's all you need to know.
His claws scraped the bulkhead. She didn't blink.
You are hiding something. If you endanger the Pride, I'll end you myself.
Then you'll have to get in line. Now, do you need medical attention? Or can I go?
In her quarters, the matriarch's secured channel finally chimed a single Terran file. A single Terran file, heavily redacted, blinked onto her console. Subject: Hayes, Sarah. Service: Terran Fleet Medical Corps. Disposition: dishonorable discharge, court-martial, charge, patient confidentiality violation. All further details sealed by order of Fleet Intelligence.
Patient confidentiality, a lie. Fleet intelligence doesn't seal records for a privacy breach.
Across the ship, Sarah sat alone with a stack of fallen soldiers' tags, polishing each one. Her expression was unreadable. The next campaign was worse. A mortar barrage caught the command squad, mid-advance. One officer collapsed with a crushed spine. Sarah pulled a compact emitter from her bag, a T-nozzle with no visible maker's mark. It hummed as she calibrated it.
Hold him still. This will burn.
What is that tool? I've never seen anything like it in a field unit.
After the surgery, Sarah ducked out to triage more wounded. Her bag lay open on a dented supply crate. Curiosity overcame Vel. She peered inside. Among the bandages were tactical stim injectors, a microscalpel with encrypted firmware, and a compact datacaster. All bore Terran Fleet insignia.
Those aren't medic tools. Those are for intelligence operatives.
That night, trembling, Vel requested a private audience with the matriarch. She recounted every item. She'd seen.
Are you certain they weren't just advanced medical technology? Human gear can look unfamiliar. Fleet intelligence gear in my medic's bag. The sealed court-martial was a cover. Now I know where to push.
Before the next rotation, the matriarch summoned Sarah to the command center. Roxanne and Vel stood by, expressions tight.
Sarah, open your medical bag. Standard equipment. Check now.
If you insist.
Sarah unzipped her worn med bag and folded down the sides. Inside, bandages, suture kits, field antiseptics, a stethoscope. Nothing else.
Where's the gear Vel saw? The tactical kit.
Every medic carries personal tools. Mine are sterilized and stored. Do you demand every soldier empty their locker?
The matriarch's tail lashed once, but she held her ground. Sarah hadn't flinched.
You hired me to keep your people breathing. That's exactly what I'm doing. Don't go down a path you can't turn back from.
She zipped the bag shut with a final click and walked out. The door sealed behind her.
She knew we were coming. She's been 3 steps ahead this entire time.
The matriarch spent 3 sleepless cycles dissecting the contract. She found no exit.
Firing her costs 2 years' pay, plus punitive damages. We'd be bankrupt in a cycle.
On the bridge, a cheer erupted. Latest mission report. 0 casualties. 3rd consecutive.
Doc Hayes pulled Roxanne through a thoracic tear in a dust storm. Unbelievable.
I still don't trust her, but I am alive because she wouldn't let me die.
Enlisted soldiers left extra rations outside her door. They guarded her sleep like precious cargo.
She's become a saint to them, and a ghost to me. Every day, I lose more control.
She summoned her officers. Find me a way to fire her. Any loophole, but the contract was an interstellar fortress. No clause could be broken without destroying the Pride. Sarah Hayes was as permanent as the hull plates. The matriarch had no choice but to endure. 4 years. The Pride had never been stronger. Casualty rates sat at 22% of the old numbers, and the credit streams were fat, but the matriarch's obsession had calcified into a need. She contacted a data broker in the Outer Rim, a creature who trafficked in state secrets. She wired half the company's liquid reserves. 2 standard weeks later, an encrypted file arrived, its header tagged with Terran intelligence markers. Subject, Hayes. Court-martial confirmed as sealed cover. Origin, Terran Fleet Intelligence. Actual charge and service record classified above broker clearance. No further penetration possible.
A manufactured discharge. Terran intelligence buried her past under a false crime. She's a plant, but for what purpose? Reconnaissance? Sabotage? I have no proof she's hostile, only that her identity is a lie.
Her claws left furrows in the metal floor. She had never felt so powerless in her own ship. Across the ship, Sarah reviewed patient files in her cabin, her expression as serene as ever.
They're getting closer. The broker's data will only confirm the cover, not my mission. That's by design.
The matriarch could almost hear the cage doors slamming shut. She was trapped with a ghost who knew every corner of her house. That evening, the matriarch summoned Sarah to her private quarters. No guards, no officers, just the two of them.
I'll make you a full partner, equal share of everything the Pride earns. Just tell me who you really are.
It wouldn't change anything. You'd still be you, and I'd still be your medic.
A flicker of something raw crossed Sarah's green eyes. Loss, perhaps, or a secret grief too heavy to name.
Then something does exist behind that wall. You just confirmed it.
I admit, I am better at my job than you ever expected. Leave it at that.
The intercom screamed with a priority alert, shattering the tension. A new contract had arrived. Contract offer. Ground assault on Terran-aligned mining colony. Pay 3 times standard mercenary rate. Immediate acceptance required. The matriarch's amber eyes never left Sarah's face, hunting for a crack in the armor. Sarah's expression remained smooth as polished steel.
This is the lever I needed. One way or another, she'll show her true colors.
The briefing room hummed with holographic topography. A Terran mining colony, its weak points blinking red.
We drop in 6 hours. All claws sharp. Hayes, you'll set up triage in the forward bunker.
Number. I won't be on this mission.
You don't get to refuse a direct order. You are our medic.
Sarah pulled up her personal file, a contract hologram flickering into view. She highlighted a single line, Clause 4. The contracted medic shall not be required to engage in, support, or participate in any operation against Terran interests.
You planted a trap in your own contract. 4 years and you never mentioned this?
It wasn't hidden. You signed it. I simply followed the terms.
So all these years, you've been a Terran operative, watching us.
Sarah said nothing. The matriarch turned away, her voice cold steel. All hands, we jump in 5, without our medic.
You snake. 4 years I watched you stitch us back together, and this whole time you were gathering intel.
I trusted you, Sarah. I thought you were my friend, but you were just using us.
Take her to her quarters. Lock her in. She's confined until we get back. If we get back...
Guards, she had saved more than once, took her arms, their eyes avoiding hers.
They're walking into a Terran defense grid I helped design. It won't be a fair fight.
The ship shuddered as the dropships detached, their ion trails fading into the black. Alone in her cabin, Sarah activated a hidden monitor. The telemetry from the colony lit the screen.
The matriarch walked them into a kill box. Terran Defense AI will have them targeted in minutes.
She pulled out a small, unauthorized comm unit, her thumb hovering over the transmit key.
Not yet. Not unless there's no other way.
The Pride hit the colony perimeter, and the world became fire. Terran auto turrets opened up from every roof, every ridge. A missile tore through the command squad. The matriarch went down, shrapnel peppering her flank. Golden fur turned red.
Matriarch is hit. We need a medic. Where's a cursed medic when we need her?
I can't stop the bleeding. The wound is too deep.
On the ship, Sarah's cabin intercom crackled with chaos, screaming, plasma fire, Raxan's voice cutting through. Overrun at Sector 7. We're pinned down. They were waiting for us.
They're dying. I can hear it in Raxon's voice. The no way is here.
She opened her bag's hidden compartment, pulling out a compact Terran comm unit, its black casing gleaming.
They'll hate me for this, but I won't let them die.
Her fingers danced over the pad. A coded burst, type beam, shot toward the Terran fleet orbiting the far moon. Then, impossibly, Sarah appeared at the edge of the battlefield, unarmed, walking straight into the crossfire. Pride soldiers on the scopes froze. Is she defecting? After 4 years, she's going home.
She's walking to the Terran lines. All that no acting against Terran interests meant nothing. She's just a deserter.
But the Terran guns fell silent. A ripple of confusion swept their line as a lone human figure approached. Commander Vance stared through his optics. A human woman in mercenary fatigues, walking calmly as if in a park. He ordered a ceasefire broadcast. The entire front went quiet. Even the wounded stopped screaming. Vance stepped out from behind the armored barricade, hand on his sidearm, a mix of suspicion and recognition on his face. In the middle of the cratered field, Sarah kept walking, her boots crunching on glassed soil, arms loose at her sides.
She's going to them. But why now? Is she surrendering us or saving us?
The two armies watched, held in a strange suspension, as the small medic approached the men she'd once called hers. The Terran warship above cast a long shadow over the dead ground where Sarah stopped before Commander Vance. Vance's eyes widened as he processed the familiar face. Then his spine straightened like a rod.
Colonel Hayes. I didn't recognize you in mercenary gear. The General never said you'd make contact this way.
Commander, I need surrender terms drafted. The Pride is cornered and I intend to save who I can.
Colonel, she outranks the Terran commander, and she's been stitching us for 4 years.
She was never ours. She was always theirs. And now she's the only one who can spare us.
Sarah pulled a data card from her belt and held it up. On its screen were names, treatments, survival rates.
I'll send you the full file. Every soldier I treated is to be spared. The officers who never came under my care face decommissioning.
Vance studied the list for a long moment, then looked at the small blood-stained woman who held the Pride's fate in her gloved hands. In the distance, the matriarch, through her pain, understood. Their medic was now their judge. In a makeshift command tent just behind the Terran line, Sarah and Vance stood over a portable holotable.
You are asking me to spare grunts based on a medical chart. On the word of one officer alone.
Not just a chart. I've had my hands inside 73% of their bodies. I know who fought and who hid.
Vance studied the green markers beside each name. They were not just survivors, they were endorsements.
Very well, Colonel. I'll authorize the surrender terms, but if a single one of your spared takes up arms again, it's on you.
It's on me. It always has been. When I walk back to them, they'll spit at my shadow. But at least they'll be alive to do it.
She transferred the final list to the Terran tactical net. Every green name was a life. Every red name was a judgment. Vance signaled his command. The heavy guns swiveled away from the pinned mercenaries, waiting for Sarah to deliver the final offer. Sarah turned back toward the Pride's shattered position. The hardest walk was the one she had to make now. Sarah walked into the Pride's perimeter, past the scorched bodies of soldiers she couldn't save. No one raised a weapon.
You have the nerve to walk back in here after everything. Give me one reason not to rip your throat out.
Because I am the only thing between you and a firing squad. Sit down, Raxon.
She knelt beside the wounded matriarch, who watched her with hooded amber eyes. The Pride's leader was barely holding on.
Here are the terms. You're enlisted. Every soldier with a green mark in my records will be spared, processed, and released. Your officers, the ones I never laid hands on, will be decommissioned permanently. That's the price.
Decommissioned? You mean executed? You are no better than any other Terran butcher.
Why, Sarah? After all this, why do you care if any of us live?
Because I spent 4 years keeping you alive. Old habits.
Silence fell over the wounded Pride. The matriarch's tail twitched. She was weighing the lives of her children against the truth she now knew. Sarah looked down at the matriarch, her voice stripped of its usual ice.
You are not just soldiers to me. You are patience. Every stitch, every fractured bone. I put you back together too many times to watch you break now.
After everything, the lies, the spying, you still think you can call us yours?
I earned the right the day I held Raxon's artery closed with my bare hands. You know it.
The matriarch's amber gaze swept the field of wounded, then settled back on the small human who had never failed them.
I'll sign your terms. All of them. Just spare my children.
Matriarch. We can still fight.
You will stand down, Raxan. That is an order.
One by one, the Pride's soldiers laid down their weapons. The clatter echoed across the cratered field as the Terran guns watched in silence. Sarah pulled out her comm unit and transmitted 2 words to the Terran command. Surrender accepted. Inside the dimly lit Terran command tent, a holographic surrender contract rotated slowly, its terms glowing crimson. Commander Vance stood as official witness.
Every soldier with a green mark receives amnesty and release. The rest are decommissioned.
She held out the datapad, the list glowing with green and red markers that spelled life or death for the entire Pride. The matriarch's amber eyes traced the roster. She saw familiar names, then her own name conspicuously absent.
My name, it's not here. You never meant to spare me.
You were never my patient. I am sorry.
The matriarch's ears flattened, but with a deep breath, she extended a shaking claw and signed. Raxan started forward, but the matriarch silenced him with a single look. Commander Vance added his own signature with a solemn nod. The surrender was now irrevocable. Sarah took one last look at the list, then handed the datapad to the Terran clerk. Her mission was complete. Terran guards moved through the Pride's ranks, pulling the red-marked officers into a separate line. Raxan's face was stone.
Commander Vance, Colonel Hayes will debrief your intelligence officers. My mission is complete.
Then she turned to the bewildered Pride soldiers, her voice low but carrying.
I was never a real medic. My name is Colonel Hayes, Terran Intelligence. 4 years ago, I was embedded to study off-galaxy mercenary tactics. The court-martial was a cover. Every procedure I performed was real, but my purpose was information.
You let us trust you. You laughed with us. And it was all a mission?
The mission was the reason I came. The people you became were the reason I stayed.
You are still the best damn medic I ever hated. I'll give you that.
The matriarch, shackled and bleeding, straightened her spine. She looked at Sarah with something that wasn't quite forgiveness, but wasn't hatred. The Pride, broken and sordid, filed into the Terran transports. Sarah stood alone in the command tent, the weight of 4 years pressing down. Outside the empty command tent, Vel caught Sarah's arm, her golden fur rumpled, stripes damp with tears.
Was any of it real? The surgeries, the talks, anything?
Every stitch was real. I could never tell you why, but I never faked a single suture.
Sarah reached out and straightened the young medic's collar, a final, instinctive act of care before letting her go. In the prisoner transport, Raxan sat in heavy chains, but as Sarah passed the viewport, he lifted his head.
For a spy, you've got hands steadier than any real medic I've known. Don't waste them.
I won't.
Then it was the matriarch, being led to a separate shuttle for decommissioning. She paused, raising her shackled claws.
You did your duty, and you did mine. There is no debt between us, Colonel.
4 years, and I still don't know if I saved them or just sorted them. Maybe it doesn't matter. The lives were real.
Years later, on the green hills of Fenris Iva, a clean white clinic stood where once only artillery craters had marred the ground. Inside, Sarah Hayes wore civilian clothes and a quiet smile, reviewing patient charts at the front desk. Raxan, in medical scrubs, limped down the corridor, carrying a supply crate, his gruff voice calling out a patient's name. Vel stood beside Sarah, tablet in hand, her whiskers twitching as she reviewed a new refugee intake with the same wide eyes. The door chimed and the matriarch entered, leaning on a cane, her amber eyes still sharp as she surveyed the clinic.
You kept your promise, Colonel. Or should I say, Dr. Hayes?
Medic is fine. I am a medic, after all.
Vel nudged Raxan, and even the old soldier cracked a scarred smile. The waiting room was full of patients, Cartesi, human, and others. As dusk fell, the clinic's warm lights glowed across the valley, a small beacon on a world that had known too much war. Sarah Hayes, the spy who became a healer, had finally stitched together more than flesh. She had stitched a future.